Greetings, math fans. All right, so today we're going to create equations again, right? But in this time, we're going to create equations given 2 points. So last time, if you guys remember, I gave you guys a slope and I gave you guys a point. And remember, you plugged it into y equals mx plus b. So you plugged in your slope into here, and then you had an x and y coordinate. So you plugged the y into there, you plugged your x into there, and basically you solve for b. Now I noticed that some of the issues that you guys had before is you guys just solve for b, and that's what you actually put on the answer blank. You need to understand we're actually coming up with an equation. So if you come up and the answer is b comes out to be 8, and your slope was given as like 1/2, you need to tell me y is equal to 1/2 x plus 8. That's the final answer. Okay, not 8. 8's nice, but 8's not the answer. 8's part of the answer, but this is what I'm looking for. Okay, so make sure you give me the equation. So today's going to be a little bit different. And the reason it's a little bit different is I am not going to give you the slope. What? Come on, Mr. Curvis. Big old meanie. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 2 points. So I'm going to give you an x, y, and I'm going to give you another x, y. So x2, y2. So that's what I'm going to give you. So what do you think you're going to do first? Well, the first thing you're going to do is we're going to actually figure out this slope, and then we're going to go back to the old stuff that we did before to plug it in to find out the value of b. Okay, so let me kind of clear all this out of here. Basically what you're going to do here first, so the title of today's lesson here is given 2 points, find an equation. Find an equation. Pretty messy here. Okay, so find an equation. Let me erase that. There we go. Find an equation. Okay, good. All right, so let me just start off with an example here. If I give you 2 comma negative 3 and 4 comma 7. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find the slope. And if you guys remember, the slope is the ox. Okay, so it's going to, let me just write it out here, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, it's a change in y over change in x. And so what you're going to do is, it's not bad to label it x1, y1 and x2, y2. And remember what I told you guys to do the negative, negative, and then plug things in. So we have a 7 and a negative 3 and a 4 and a 2. So that gives us plus, so we get 7 plus 3 is 10, and 4 minus 2 is 2, so my slope is 5. So m equals 5. Okay, so here's the deal, math fans. This is now exactly what we did in the last lesson. And you're like, well, wait a second, Mr. Curvis. Okay, I understand we have my slope is 5, but I have 2 points. I don't know, which one do I use? My answer to that question is you use whichever one is easier. All right, so use one of the points. And you guys are like, well, what do you mean by which one's easier? Well, I kind of look at it as the one with least number of negatives, so less negatives, or smaller numbers. Okay, so it doesn't matter because you're going to get the exact same answer no matter which one you use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, it's a little bit bigger numbers, but you have less negatives. So I'm going to use 4, 7. Okay, it doesn't really matter. So remember, it's, let me kind of scroll down here just a little bit. It's y equals mx plus b. So y equals mx plus b. Got to remember that. It's so important. So here we go. We have, this is your x, this is your y, right over here, and here's your m, right here. Okay, so plug it in and find b. So y, so it's 7 is equal to 5 times x, which is 4, plus b. So 7 is equal to 20 plus b, And what do you do to both sides? You subtract 20. So I'm going to actually just go put it over here. So I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. So let me write this over here. So I'm going to subtract 20. A little crazy, but it's negative 13 equals b. Okay, now again, don't write negative 13 is equal to b, because that's not the answer. Remember, you just need a slope, which is right here, and you need b here, and then you have your equation. Okay, so our answer to this problem is, I'm going to put it in the bottom left-hand corner because it's the only place it's going to fit. Y is equal to 5x minus 13. That's it. That's your answer. Y equals 5x minus 13. Okay? All right, let's try another one here without all these extra words here. So here's your coordinate is going to be, let's say 4 comma negative 3 and 10 comma 3. Okay, so let's do it. Let's plug it in. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I got to find my slope. So m is equal to, draw negative negative on the line. Okay, so again, if you want to label it, I think it's not a bad idea. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so we're going to say 3 and a negative 3 and 10 and 4. Okay, so we say that's plus, right? So we get 6 over 10 minus 4 is 6. Hey, it's 1. All right, that's cool. So slope is 1. Now which point are you going to use? Well, I'm going to choose this guy right here. And the only reason is because the numbers are a little bit smaller. All right? So let's plug it in. It's y equals mx plus b. Remember, our goal now is to find b. For now, okay? So again, we're plugging it in. I get y equals mx plus b. So plug everything in. So we got y, which is negative 3, equals m, which is 1, times x, which is 4, plus b. So negative 3 is equal to 4 plus b. Subtract 4 from both sides. So b is equal to negative 7. All right, so now you've got your slope, which is 1, and you got your b, which is negative 7. So that's your equation. Y is equal to 1x, or x. You can say 1x, I don't care. 1x minus 7. That's your answer. What? That's it? Yeah. It's not difficult at all. Again, you got to be careful. You got a couple steps here. You got to find your slope, then you got to find your y-intercept, which is your b, and then you put it into the equation. It's pretty easy. Okay? All right, one last one, just a little practice here. So let's see. If your coordinates are negative 5 comma 8 and let's see, let's do negative 3 comma negative 2. Okay, so here we go. M equals, okay, again I'm going to label it x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, so it's negative 2 and 8 and negative 3 and negative 5. All right, so we got negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10. Negative 3, that's a double negative, so I'm going to say plus. You can type it directly in your calculator, doesn't matter. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2. So my slope is negative 5. Okay? And which point are you going to use? I'm going to use the second one. It's a little bit smaller numbers. You got negatives. Who cares? Okay, so again, I'm going to use this guy. And of course, I'm going to use my m right here. And I'm going to plug it into our nice friendly formula. Y equals mx plus b. Because remember, I want to find b. Okay, so let's plug it in. Y, which is negative 2, equals m, which is negative 5, times x, which is negative 3, plus b. So you get negative 2 is equal to 15 plus b subtract 15, b is equal to negative 17. Okay, so you got everything now. Here it is. M is negative 5, b is negative 17. So your answer to this problem is y equals negative 5x minus 17. That's it, math fans. Okay, so it's pretty easy. Now, there's two special cases here. And let's talk about what the special cases are. Let's actually do a problem like that. So if I said 5, negative 8, and negative 3, comma, negative 8. And so you're going to do everything the same. So you're going to see why it's a special case in a second. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the slope. So once again, it's not a bad idea. Label it x1, y1, and x2, y2. So if I plug it in, I get negative 8, and I get negative 8. And I get negative 3, and I get 5. So that's plus. So on top, you get 0, and on the bottom, you get negative 8. Please don't leave it as 0 over negative 8. You guys need to know, if there's a 0 in there, it's something going on. It's either going to be 0 or it's going to be undefined. And you guys should remember, if it's on top, it's 0. You can put it in your calculator, you get 0. If it's on the bottom, then think of on the bottom is undefined. Okay, so this one is equal to 0. You have to tell me, you have to know it's equal to 0, not undefined. All right, so it's a special case, and we've done this before, guys. You should remember, if my slope is equal to 0, that means it's a horizontal line. You guys should know that. Okay, and if it's a horizontal line, you guys also should know it's just y equals some number. Okay, if I ask you what the slope is, you're going to tell me it's 0, but if I ask you the equation, that's important. If I ask you the equation, you are going to tell me y equals some number. Now, I want you to look at the 2 points. What number is y? Well, isn't it negative 8 for both of them? Do you guys agree with that? So y equals negative 8 is my answer. That's it. That's the equation. Y equals negative 8. You're done. I call these BAM problems. Okay? The reason I call them BAM problems is because they're super fast problems. Okay? And the reason they're fast is because if you can recognize, it just helps. If you can recognize that the y value is negative 8 for both of them, that means I know it's going to be y equals negative 8. You can find the slope, which is fine, and find out that it's equal to 0, and that should indicate, oh, that's right, that's a special case. Oh, look at that, it's negative 8. Oh, so it's got to be y equals, well, what does y equal? Negative 8, and you're done with the problem. Okay? So be careful what I'm asking for. If I ask you for an equation, you're going to give me this. Okay? If I ask you for a slope, you're going to give me this. Okay? This is what this chapter is about. You got to know how to figure out the slope. You have to know how to figure out the equation. But understand, if the y is the same, then y equals negative 8 is the equation. And the slope is 0. Okay? All right, so real quickly, let's just do another problem. If I said 8 comma negative 12 and negative 3 comma negative 12, you guys should say, oh, look at that. Y is the same. What is the answer to this problem? Y equals negative 12. What? That's fast. Bam. Done. Okay? It's the same thing. Okay, now again, if I say, hey, tell me what the slope is, you could also do a BAM as long as you recognize it's the slope is, the y is the same, the slope is 0, or you plug into the equation. M is equal to, and you're going to plug in negative 12, and negative 3 and 8. So that would give you 0 over negative 11, which is 0. Okay, so it all depends on what I'm asking for. But especially if I ask you for an equation, guys, it's so fast. Y equals negative 12. Okay? So what if I gave you this? Negative 4 comma 3 and negative 4 comma 6. Well, you guys should look at this and see that the negative 4 is the same. What do you think this is going to be? Well, before you answer that, let's just look at the slope first. So again, I'm going to label it x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so if I label this, or I put it into our equation, so it's y2, so we're going to have 6 and 3, and -4 and -4. So that gives you 3 over 0. Please, it's undefined, so please know it's undefined. That's the slope of that line. Okay? So if I ask you what the slope is, you got to kind of do a calculation. But if I ask you in the equation, it's got to be an x equals. You guys should know an undefined slope is this way. And you guys should know it's got to be an x equals. You have to. This way is a y equals. That way is an x equals. What does x equal? -4. You're done with the problem. Bam. Okay? It's pretty easy. So let's just kind of do another one here. -7 comma 12 and -7 comma -3. Okay, I want an equation. Same value for x. That's the answer. X equals -7. What do you think the slope is? Well, of course, it's undefined. All depends on what I ask for. Equation, slope. Okay? Not bad. Right? If I said 2 comma -8 and 5 comma -8, what's the equation? Oh, y is the same. Y equals -8. -3 comma 5, -3 comma 7. What's the same? Oh, x is equal to -3. Okay? Easy. If the numbers are different, then you have to do like I first taught you. Okay, so we'll do one more of those. -1 comma 7 and we'll say -3 comma -1. Okay, plug it in. M is equal to, so they're not the same. So you're already like, well, maybe this is the same as this, but that's not the same place. Not the same. One's x and one's y. Okay, so we're going to label here x1, y1, x2, y2. So plug it in. -1 and 7. -3 and -1. So that gives you a plus down there. So -1 minus 7 is -8. And -3 plus 1 is -2. So my slope is 4. And then which point am I going to use? Let's use the first one. Why not? So it's going to be y. Remember, y equals mx plus b. Right? The band problems are faster. It doesn't do not much work at all. This one, you got to do a little bit more work. So anyway, y equals mx plus b. And again, I'm going to use the first. I'm going to use that point, and I'm going to use the slope here. Okay? So y equals m times x plus b. So 7 equals -4 plus b. Add 4 to both sides. So b is equal to 11. Okay, so we have y is equal to 4x plus 11. Okay, because here's the slope, here's b, and you plug them in to your m and your b, and you get your answer here. Y equals 4x plus 11. Okay, so that's it. 2 points. Come up with an equation. If the y's are the same, then it's y equals whatever it is. If the x are the same, then it's x equals whatever. Okay, if everything's different, you got to do all this work that I just did over here. Okay, that's it, math fans. Hopefully you guys are good to go with this. Have an outstanding day. Adios.